This is so fucking stupid. I feel like I'm in high school again. I 34F have a friend named Summer, also 34F, who's a free spirit. In high school, she got sent home multiple times for going to class barefoot. She dropped out of college and hitchhiked to Mexico one summer, didn't tell anyone where she was going. She forgets to pay her phone bill, so she's occasionally unreachable. I know that sounds like a lot, and it'll sound like even more by the end of this, but we've been friends since we were 10. I don't care that she's a mess. I love her. We're in this for the long haul. Summer's boyfriend, Will, is the opposite of her, and I'd hoped he'd mellow out her wild side. You know how Summer forgets to pay her phone bill? Well, apparently she did it again. I found out when Will called me Friday morning while I was at work. He said he was having trouble locating Summer. I said, "Yup, that's Summer for YA. If you get a hold of her, please tell her to call me. Best of luck." Then I hung up, thinking nothing of it. Will rang me again and demanded to know where Summer is. I truthfully said that I have no idea, but I'll call her parents for him and see if they know. I went to do exactly that, but Will called me again before I could. I answered, and it was the same question, but angrier. "Where the fuck is my girlfriend?" I'll spare you the suspense. This went on for quite some time. Absolutely no clue why Will was convinced I know where Summer is, but I told him exactly when or where I last saw her, and that she disappears like this routinely, which he damn well knows. They've been together for a year. I used the plainest language possible, but Will just wouldn't relent. He called me about 50 times. I put it on silent at first, but by the 51st time, I'd had enough. I answered and said, "Bro, stop blowing up my phone. I don't know where Summer is, and I'll block you if I have to. You're going to get me fired." Then I turned my phone off. Today, Summer called me. I was expecting some form of explanation, but she opened with, "I'm handing the phone to Will. He wants an apology." I stopped her and said, "Apology for what?" She said, "For saying that he blew up your phone," to which I replied, "He did blow up my phone, and I was at work too. Maybe I shouldn't have threatened to block." But he didn't get the point the first 50 times. I said it calmly. Summer said just apologize because he's really pissed. And here's where I'm probably TA. No to all the fucking that. I'm not apologizing because her milquetoast boyfriend, who is basically the human equivalent of a dry ham sandwich, is on some ego trip. I said that, but nicer. And she hung up on me. Now I'm thinking I should have sucked it up, rather than jeopardize 2 decades of friendship.
AITA for getting drunk and cheating on my husband after 6 years? Hi. So, me and my husband have been married for 6 years, 2 years after dating. I made a mistake last Friday, and I need some help. Greg is a good guy, but he can be a little frustrating, and that morning, he was complaining that he had work all day and that he wouldn't be able to unwind at home. I told him it's going to be fine, but he didn't reply. Maybe he didn't hear me, but he didn't even ask what I was saying. He kept going on and then started complaining about our bank account. Last Friday, me and some friends went out for a drink, since one of them is getting married and we wanted to give her a night to remember. My husband was okay with me having some time for myself. After a couple of drinks, a group of guys get close and begins to talk to us. One, let's call him James, sits next to me and he begins talking about his job. He's the director of a small company, and he talks with such ambition that it makes me more interested in what he's saying. The night goes on and I've been drinking quite a bit. I can't really remember much, but I remember hooking up with James. The next morning my phone is ringing like crazy. I go check it and I have a couple lost calls from my husband. When I pick it up, I just tell him I stay at my friend's place and that my phone had run out of battery. He seems to understand and asks me if I'm going home anytime soon. I say yes. Then James wakes up, and when I ask him about last night, he just said I insisted in not using protection. I rush back to my place, trying to leave this one-night stand behind me, but I can't forget this guy. Maybe I felt in love with him, the way he talks, and he being a young man that has control over his life. I remember feeling the same way about my husband before we married, but now he is mostly giving up in life, constantly working and with no ambition. His dreams seems to have faded away, and now he spends most of the time working instead. When he arrives home, he ignores me most of the time and just spends his free time watching sports or playing video games like a child, with eating habits to match. Also, his sexual appetite seems to bin though the floor. I tell him it's okay if he can't perform and that I don't blame him, and I really don't. I try to be supportive the most I can, but sometimes that gets to me. Is there any way I can save my marriage?